Welcome to the Drew Messmer Show on the Southwestern Indiana Sports Network. Join us each week as we go inside Forest Park basketball with head coach Drew Messmer. Now for the Drew Messmer Show on the Southwestern Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Brosmer Communications.
This is your IHSAA. This is your state. This is your high school. This is your athletic association.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and we're here to make sure that all of this remains yours.
This is your state. This is your community. This is your IHSAA.
Hey everyone, Joey Chestnut here, world champion competitive eater. I follow Southwest Indiana Sports Network, and if you're hungry for sports, you should follow them too.
Follow the Southwest Indiana Sports Network at swisportsnetwork.com or search Roku for our channel at SW Indiana Sports Network.
Hello and welcome to this week's Drew Messmer Show. And Coach, last week you took on the Pike Central Chargers on Friday. You came away you lost by 4 points to a very good Pike Central team. But on Saturday, you pulled off a 50-point victory over Tell City at Tell City. Why don't you recap those games for us?
Yep. So with the Pike Central game, you know, we went into it and it had kind of had some info that their 6'6" senior Kendrick Syracuse was going to be out, but we game planned that he was going to be there anyway. You know, really ended up that he is out for a few weeks with the broken finger. He broke it in the layup lines, I guess. Vincent Lincoln, he dunked the ball too hard and broke his finger. So unfortunate for them, but when they get him back, they're going to be really, really tough. You know, got out to another good start, similar to what we did against Crawford County. We were up 13-6 there on them. Coach Elliott called a timeout. They kind of regrouped and bounced back. You know, we were able to, hit quite a few shots in that game, more than anticipated, honestly. I think we shot 48%, hit 9 threes, I believe, from the three-point land. So that was, a very big plus for us. So we were able to go into the half up 35-25, and that's kind of when things, well, I shouldn't say that's when things went south. We ended up building our lead to 41-27 with about 5.5 to go in the third quarter, and then I would like to say that our shot selection started to be a little bit questionable for sure, and the film showed that, as well as some of our defensive positioning. We weren't quite, jumping to the basketball in front of the post the way that we needed to, and their junior, Julian Gish, really, he had a big time second half. I think he had 19 points in the second half. They got another really good junior, Quade Morton. He had 27 on us in the game. So those guys, I mean, they're one of the best, duos, period, in the entire conference. There's no question about that. So when they add the 6'6" kid, I mean, they're going to be really talented. But again, it was 41-27. We just kind of kept that margin for a while, I should say, they slowly chipped away at it. Got it down to about 7. Our big guy, Preston Parkheimer, was called for his 4th foul, and just a learning curve, picked up a technical along the way, so that was foul number 5, and they converted all 4 free throws as well as got the basketball, so they scored on that possession. So I believe we were either up 7 or up 5. I think we were up 5, and that 6-point swing put them up a bucket or a point. And we did, we responded back. We hit a few shots. Jace Burke stepped up, and I think he may have had 10 in a row again for us there at one stretch. We were up 59 to 57, and Reed Howard had a double. Well, it wasn't a double bonus. He got fouled driving to the rim. Was about a minute to go, and he wasn't able to connect on either free throws. So just, we ended up going into overtime at 66, and they kind of played the clock. They won the tip. They played the clock, wound it down, scored with like 8.4 seconds to go, and then they were able to call the turnover and a bucket at the horn to make it 70-66. So, I mean, it's definitely a game where we feel like credit to Pike Central for obviously, they were trailing for 2/3 of the game, and then they were able to kind of, they just stuck with their game plan, and we started breaking down, and again, we took some bad shots and did some different things, but so definitely credit to them for continuing to work and all of that, but we strongly feel like having the experience we have from playing in that game and losing in that game, that if we played them this weekend, we would be able to handle our business and go about things the correct way. Even our focus, going into that next game against Tell City, as well as our first 2 days of practice have reflected that. Had a really good film session, just a ton to learn. Again, we may have 5 seniors on our roster and 3 letter winners back from last year that are juniors, but not a ton of end of the game experience, really. Not a ton at all. I'd say, especially, either side, winning or losing side, executing down the stretch, we probably have 2 kids that have been in that spot before. So it's just a learning curve, but, like I said, hats off to Pike for continuing to fight. As far as the Tell City game, they got a new coach. They've got eight sophomores on their roster. Some teams have went out there and everybody can go about their game plan how they want to impress them. We felt like to get the most out of this game for our guys, we wanted to play them half court, man to man. We had set some goals to have 15 assists, take 3 charges, and hold them under 24 points. The reason for the 24 is we had given up 70 the night before, and our defensive average goal is 47 points. So that's what we were left with, to play with to hit our defensive average. So we were able to achieve all 3 of those. We started the game out as a point of emphasis for sure to take charges. Had we taken some against Pike Central, had we taken 1, we would have won the game, let alone us taking 3 against Tell City. So we were able to start the game. Nathan Berg stepped up and made a selfless play for us and sacrificed his body, got a charge, and it really set the tone for our guys that this is going to be very much so a team effort. And that goes all the way to the last minute when Joachim took our 3rd charge. We wanted to get 15 assists. We had 8 assists going into the 4th quarter, and we just let our guys know, hey, we need 7 more of them, and they were making extra passes, and we were able to actually finish the game with 16 assists, so as well as receiving the goal, holding them to 21 points, which is just 2 off from a school record. So their focus and the things that we were attended to and discussed that we need to achieve in order to become, a team that can win in March. They've walked into those, to those aspects of the game instead of getting caught up in what the score was and whatever. They just continue to battle. And again, Tell City's a young team. They got a first-year coach, and Coach Holland is a great guy. He's going to get those guys in the right direction and got a positive mindset. So just obviously a historic program, so having a chance to go play at their place where the second held, it was a good game for us to be able to come and play well.
After playing this past weekend, Pike Central, once they get that 3rd player back, do you think they'll be competing for a Buckeye Athletics championship?
I believe wholeheartedly that they will be right there in the mix. I'd have to look as to where, some other heavyweight PAC teams fall in their schedule. Obviously, if they play them the next couple of weeks, that may be, a deciding factor in it. But I told Coach Elliott, before the game, I said, obviously this is nothing but respect to those guys. I don't understand why people aren't talking about Pike Central serious contender to win that sectional. I mean, I understand North Davies and Herrick Chills are both very good. No questions about that. But those 3 guys that they have, they've got to all be pushing 1,000 points by the end of the season. So, they've got a wave of talent that's pretty special, that's for sure.
And we'll be back on the Drew Messmer Show right after these messages from our sponsors. You're listening to Southwest Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan Messmer Communications.
Do you have old videotapes and films sitting around your house? Let Milligan Communications convert them to DVD for you. VHS, VHS-C, 8mm, or Beta. If they are videotapes, Milligan Communications can do them all. They can also convert 8mm, Super 8, and 16mm film. DVDs would make a great Christmas gift. Call Milligan Communications today, 812-630-2449 for more information.
You dream it, we create it at Street Dreams. Custom paint, fabrication, stereos, wheels, tires, and more. We're also your authorized Sinister Sound dealer. Street Dreams, 317-624-1000, where you expect quality and get.
This is the most important, amazingest game ever played in the universe. The pitcher is fierce. Danny Roberts is up at bat. And the crowd goes wild! He just won the game! Let's go! Yes!
We protect the car you drive.
Go get him, Danny.
And the dreams that drive you. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
Hey everyone, Joey Chestnut here, world champion competitive eater. I follow Southwest Indiana Sports Network, and if you're hungry for sports, you should follow them too.
Follow the Southwest Indiana Sports Network at swisportsnetwork.com or search Roku for our channel at SW Indiana Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Drew Messmer Show. And we're joined by Forest Park JV coach and assistant coach Phil Winkler. Phil, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How about yourself?
Doing good. And, you've been a mainstay with the Rangers for a long time. Why don't you give us some of the history on where you started coaching and where you are today?
I had to think about this. I'm in I believe my 22nd year of coaching. I started coaching really right after I graduated college and started teaching at Southeast Du Bois. And I started in the 7th grade program, coached there for, I believe, 8 years. And then I moved on to the high school level, starting out in the varsity assistant and starting my ninth full season of coaching the JV basketball team.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think Coach Messmer said you coached him in 7th grade.
Yes, I did. Coached him in 7th grade, and I helped out. I was varsity assistant throughout a good part of his high school career, and then into his senior year until I moved over to the JV level about halfway through his senior year.
And you moved to the JV, and how is the JV doing this year? And who are some of the people that we're looking to be hearing from in the future?
I'll be honest. Last year I had a very experienced group. It was really, for some of them, their second full season, if not their third full season with me. A lot of juniors that I had on the team. So we'd come into games and they couldn't get over how big we were. And it was a case of we had a pretty talented senior class, and they handled their role very well as far as juniors being on the JV team and had a successful season. So when I came into this season, wasn't sure what to expect. And, so we are very inexperienced, but they are a fun group to coach because they work so hard for me. They really, so far in the season, we're 3-0, and they have played all 3 games, have really done an amazing job defensively. I was telling them before the game that, that's one of our calling cards at Forest Park, is that we want to play very aggressive, very hard on the defensive end. And they have bought into that so far this season. They have a very difficult opponent with Lagodi coming up on Friday. I already told them, we've had 3 good opponents, but this is by far probably going to be the best team that we've played so far this season. As far as, some of the kids that I can look at, it really, so far, to me, has been very much a team effort. We have a couple kids that split some time with me on JV and varsity. That's Brock Schuler and Reese Wolf and Jackson Leakin. It's tough for some of those kids understanding their roles are different sometimes in the varsity and the JV level. And they've handled it pretty well. We also have some other strong sophomores that play on the team. I would rather not mention them right now just because I'm afraid I'm going to forget one of them. But like I said, it's very much a team effort. I think I've had 3 games, and I've had 3 leading scorers in all of those games. So really looking forward to the rest of the season to come.
And looking at your schedule, you've got 3 away games, and you've got an away game this week. Are you ever going to get to play Forest Park?
We are finally. I'm keeping my fingers crossed because our first home game is against DuBois, and our Northeast DuBois, and actually we have not played them in the last 2 years between COVID and I think an accident at the school last year on their end, and we were never able to reschedule any of those games. So, really looking forward, one, to our first home game, which I believe is next Saturday, but then also looking forward to finally getting to play a county rival as well. So eventually we will get there. Our schedule is always so crazy. We have a string of home games later in January, but it always feels good to play at home.
And, and we just got to hope the snow stays away next week.
Yeah, I'm not even going to look at that weather forecast. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed that the temperature stays warm enough that we don't get any of that.
And, you coach a lot of these varsity players on the JV, and they're sitting at 2-1 right now. Uh-huh. And they got an away game against Lagodi again this week. What do you think about their season so far?
So far, it kind of mirrors our JV program in that they're inexperienced. The one game that they lost, it was honestly, we were very much in control. We had a couple little mistakes that I've seen in the past that inexperience happens. I reminded Drew that it kind of reminded me of his junior year whenever we were up at another opponent, and that group started out the season pretty inexperienced, and they got up against this opponent. I believe it was in Northeast DuBois, and had the game in hand, and it just seemed like it slowly slipped away, and we just could not hold on to that lead, and ended up losing that up at Northeast DuBois. And this group kind of reminds me of that, and their game against Pike Central, and that they had the lead. I think they were very well in control, and then you just kind of could see it slipping a little bit, and just that inexperience did not go in our favor. But I've always told them, you don't win sectionals in November and December. We're going to improve on that. We're going to learn from it, and by the end of the year, I really believe this group could be a big contender in sectional and moving forward.
And listening to some of the names you've mentioned, and also some of the names that Coach Messmer has mentioned, Jay Spurg and Jackson Leak, and a lot of football players crossing over to play basketball.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's nice to get those guys. Just in any sport, really. We've got several soccer players as well, and a couple cross country runners, and whenever they can play multiple sports like that, they know the competitiveness. Football, obviously, the physicality that they can bring, that is a big help, and being able to handle the physicality is definitely important. But any of those players that can play multiple sports, it's always a huge help for us.
Well, Coach, good luck the rest of the season.
All right. Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
And you've been listening to the Drew Messmer Show. We'll be back with these messages from our sponsors. You're listening to the Southwest Indiana Sports Network, powered by Milligan-Brosper Communications.
Want to know what I like best about playing basketball for my high school? I like it because it's a place where my friends get to see me play. I like it because I'm playing for someone besides myself. I'm playing for everybody in my school and every person in my community.
Indiana high school sports. They're more than just a game.
Come and see me play.
Do you have old videotapes and films sitting around your house? Let Milligan Communications convert them to DVD for you. VHS, VHS-C, 8mm, or Beta. If they are videotapes, Milligan Communications can do them all. They can also convert 8mm, Super 8, and 16mm film. DVDs would make a great Christmas gift. Call Milligan Communications today, 812-630-2449 for more information.
When you think sporting goods, think no further than All Star Sports in Ferdinand. Custom embroidery, screen printing, team uniforms, sports equipment, and sports apparel and shoes. We have it all. Give Brad a call today at 812-367-1618 or visit them in the Country Plaza Shopping Center in Ferdinand. All Star Sports is open Monday through Friday 10 to 7 and Saturday 9 to 4. All Star Sports, when you're thinking sporting goods.
Hey everyone, Joey Chestnut here, world champion competitive eater. I follow Southwest Indiana Sports Network, and if you're hungry for sports, you should follow them too.
Follow the Southwest Indiana Sports Network at swisportsnetwork.com or search Roku for our channel at SW Indiana Sports Network.
And welcome back to the Drew Messmer Show. And Coach, I'll tell you what, longevity means a lot to programs, and Phil Winkler's been Forest Park basketball for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been a guy around for a long, long time. Coach Winkler was my 7th grade coach when Nate Hawkins was promoted to be the head coach after Tom Beach had left. Coach was the varsity assistant for, I guess, my entire high school, the 4 years that I was in high school. So he's been around. He's been a part of a lot of wins. I mean, a ton of wins on that bench. I believe he's got 4 state medals, 2 runners-up, and 2 championships. So he's a guy that has certainly been there and done that, been around our program, and he's seen a lot of things, and a lot of people, knows a lot of people. So he does a great job. He's a great personality to have. Our kids love him. He's just a personable guy, and you're not around the game for 20 years and don't pick up things. So he's definitely got a wealth of knowledge that he shares and adds things throughout practice constantly. Great communicator with our kids during practice. He's a really good guy. I mean, he is. He injects a lot of energy into our program. If guys aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing, he's loud in the gym, and he tries to get guys going. I think he's got a great blend in the best way of knowing when to be negative and knowing when to be positive, and he's much more positive than he is negative. So he is a great asset for our program.
And this week on Friday night, you'll get to travel to Lagodi to play the Lagodi Lions, who sit 3-2 on the season. Hit a big last-second 3 against Jasper to go 3-2 this 3-2. So why don't you preview that game for us?
Yeah. Arguably, not even arguably. This will be the best defensive team that we face or have faced thus far into the season. They play a brand of basketball with their size. I believe they have 4 kids that are 6'3" or bigger that are in their starting lineup, as well as another 6'3" kid that comes off the bench. So they have a ton of length. They have strength. Coach Haywood has those guys where they're rotating and playing, they can hold you into the 40s, no question. So we're going to have to be at the top of our game, both offensively and defensively, if we want to have a chance to be successful in this game. We're not going to be able to go out there and not set our man up and kind of go through the motions and things like that within our offense, whether that be motion or set plays. We just got to be a lot more crisp. As well as our timing has to be right there. We can't have cutters coming through and the basketball not be where it needs to be to make that entry pass or wherever we're trying to get the ball. So, they're just going to present a ton of challenges. They've got I believe a 4-year starter, I want to say, in Peyton Bledsoe, 6'4" kid that can, they set a ton of high ball screens for him at the volleyball line. And if you go under that thing, he will shoot it 2 feet behind the volleyball line comfortably all game long. He's got no problem doing that. Their coach is confident in that shot. I mean, he's just one of those guys where when he shoots the basketball, you feel like it's going to go in. I mean, he can really stroke it. He can fill it up. to me, a lot of good high school players can only go one direction, and he's able to it might be left-handed. He might be better going to his right. He's a very talented player. I'm not sure what his college options look like, but I have a hard time believing that he can't find a spot somewhere to help guys with his shot-making ability. So they're just, they're a dynamic team with a ton of size, and it's going to present a challenge to see how we can, just shuffle our game plan around and try to keep Bledsoe, guessing as to how we're going to cover him throughout the night. If he gets comfortable and figures out what we want to do, I have to be a long night for us.
Well, Coach, good luck this week against Lagodi, and let's go 3-1.
Absolutely. Thanks, Joe.
You've been listening to the Drew Messmer Show on the Southwest Indiana Sports Network, powered by Miller Brosmer Communications. We'll see you next week.
This is the most important, amazingest game ever played in the universe. The pitcher is fierce. Danny Roberts is up at bat. And the crowd goes wild. He just won the game. Let's go! Yes!
We protect the car you drive.
Go get him, Danny.
And the dreams that drive you. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
Becoming a licensed sports official is a great way to make a positive difference in the community and support the over 160,000 Indiana student athletes that participate across 22 IHSAA sports. Sports officiating allows you to stay connected to the game, become a role model for our young student athletes, earn extra money, and support the patrons and communities of our IHSAA member schools. To learn more about becoming a licensed IHSAA official, log on to ihsaa.org/officials today.